This weekend sees the start of the Labour Party conference, and the government need to find a distraction for the British people to distract us away from their latest scandal, which we'll get onto, on top of all the other scandals since they came to office. The government are the least popular in living memory. Keir Starmer is the least popular Prime Minister since records began, and in my opinion, they are utterly useless. This gentleman is Morgan Mcweeny. Even his name sounds dodgy, like the villain in a Dickens novel. Morgan Mcweeny lived under a bridge and preyed upon young children. He is Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. He's the puppet master, the power behind the throne. He's the man who got Keir Starmer into number 10. And if he goes, Starmer won't be far behind him. And that is a lovely thought, save for this. If Starmer was ejected from office, who would replace him? Because sadly, that man who looks like a slightly melted waxwork, who talks like a sat-nav with a severe learning disability, that's the best Labour have got. Now Mcweeny, who is absolutely detested by Labour backbenchers, is in the firing line, because it transpires he made an error by failing to declare £740,000 in donations. That's $988,000 US dollars. And that's just one more scandal to add to the Labour government's growing list of scandals. The amount of immoral, twisted shit this government has done would normally take any other government 2 full terms. They've done it in 15 fucking months. So, to distract from this, they've engaged Project Fear, something which Labour are exceptionally good at. Because two-tier, no idea, free gear, never hear Keir has announced that in the near future, all British adults will have to have a digital ID card. So, in my opinion, we're going from alleged two-tier policing to potentially a full-on police state.
I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
And I know it sounds alarmist, but in Britain, we haven't had ID cards since 1952 at the end of rationing. Tony Blair tried to reintroduce the policy, but the technology wasn't there. And remember, Blair is the man who threw open the floodgates and changed the face of Britain forever with his lesson in multiculturalism. And now our PM is a fucking human rights lawyer, one of the lawyers who fights to stop foreign criminals from being deported, and he and his cronies, in my opinion, openly hate the British. But the argument being put forth is that digital ID cards will stop illegal immigration. So let's use the stereotype of young men coming across the channel in small boats. These bastards, once they've left the French coastline, throw away all their documentation so we can't identify them. How the merry fuck is every legitimate British citizen carrying ID going to stop that? Is this government delusional or just thick as shit? To me, this is the modern day equivalent of "there are your papers." Because we've seen how power mad some of the old bill have gone since Labour got into power, gleefully nicking people for social media posts. With digital ID, woke police commissioners will have the opportunity to go full on Stasi. So here is a statement from Big Brother, the Labour government. The digital ID scheme will make Britain safer and more secure by making it tougher to work illegally in this country. Ensuring digital ID is mandatory for right-to-work checks, ending the need for complicated identity checks which often rely on copies of paper records. So let's break this down. The idea that digital ID will make it harder to work here if you're here illegally. So for all the Turkish barbershops, the car washes, the nail bars, the brothels, etc., the people who employ illegal immigrants, are they going to give two merry fucks about digital ID, when many of those businesses are just fronts for money laundering and drug dealing? And as for the thousands of allegedly illegal taxi drivers who are here driving around because their cousin or brother or uncle has a valid taxi license. Is it hard to imagine that it would be beyond their foresight to think, today I'm going to drive my brother's taxi, I'll take his phone with his digital ID. Not only that, but how long or how many minutes after this scheme is introduced will it get hacked? Either by people using identity theft or by a group like the Lazarus Group from North Korea, their elite hacking squad, to steal the identity and information of every person in the fucking UK who's here legally. And what information will be on this ID? Because there's one line that to me is chilling. You can even collect your supermarket loyalty points on it. That is fucking Orwellian. I know that supermarkets do a lot of marketing research to find out what people are buying and when. I don't want the government knowing what I do when I go to Tesco's. Other supermarkets are available. Now, to me, this is fucking Orwellian, because just before I came out recording, I was listening to the radio and there was a Labour minister explaining the advantage of digital ID is that, say you use the NHS. Well, the NHS and the HMRC are separate entities, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs. But with digital ID, they'll know that you're the same person. So, Revenue and Customs will have access, potentially, to your fucking medical records. And is it too much to think, and I'm not trying to be some fucking tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, if they're talking about supermarket loyalty points, that before too long, this app could track all the money going in and going out of your account, that certain government agencies can track everything you're doing. We already know that a mobile phone, which most of us have, although 2 million people don't have smartphones, so they can't get jobs apparently, can track your movement even when the fucking thing is turned off. I do not want the powers that govern this country, because I think, in my opinion, an opinion, not a statement of fact, they are fucking corrupt, knowing everything I'm doing. Of course, data harvesting is nothing new. Social media companies are fucking brilliant at it. There's a conspiracy theory that our phones listen to us all the time. They don't. The truth is even more terrifying. If you've ever had a conversation with someone at work, say about football, and then 2 minutes later, you're on Facebook and an advert comes up for football kit. You may think, oh my God, my phone's listening to me. No, it's more frightening than that. What's happened is the person you've been speaking to has searched football. The social media company has worked out your proximity to that person, and it's likely that you've been discussing football, so that's why you get the advert. Now, to be honest, I don't mind social media companies doing that. I don't want Keir fucking Starmer having access to the same technology. And this technology is in its infancy. And again, I'm not trying to scaremonger, but imagine where this could go in 2 or 3 years' time. When AI is getting more and more advanced, it could get to the point where if you're paying with your phone, with your digital ID, it could work out, no, you've had too much red meat this week, you can't buy it. Your carbon footprint is too high. Or, on the same level, you go to book a holiday with your digital ID and no, you've driven 50,000 miles this year, you're not allowed to go on a flight. It sounds far-fetched, but I wouldn't put any fucking thing past this government. If it was about stopping people working illegally in the UK, first of all, and this is going to sound right-wing, do they have an accent like me? Next up, to work in the UK, if you're British, you have to have a national insurance number. Foreigners, I believe, need something similar that can be checked so that they're legally here. For identification, there's passports, there's driving licenses, utility bills, your fucking Facebook page, it's all there. As for information, our phones know so much about us. I swear, my Samsung Galaxy that I'm recording on right now knows when I fancy a wank and what I want to watch. I don't want Starmer knowing that. The petition against digital ID in the UK hit 1 million signatures in less than a day, and I'm one of the people who signed it. This, like I said, it's dystopian, it's Orwellian. This isn't Big Brother is watching you. It's Big Brother is not only watching you, he's watching everything you do on social fucking media. Anyway, that's the end of this video, fun as it was. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you could leave a like, a comment, or share the video, that helps the algorithm. If you would like to support me in making these videos. Thank you to everyone who's done so far. There are links in the description to buy me a coffee and to my Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching. The terrifying thing is that Starmer is the best they've got. If Starmer... How do I put this? If Starmer stopped existing tomorrow, he'd get replaced by David fucking Lammy. That absolute muppet. That tard, shall we say. A man who describes himself as a Caribbean person. Lammy, you live in fucking London. Morgan Mcweeny. Hello there, children. Follow me. I don't know why I'm doing that voice. He's fucking Irish. And only a year older than me. I need to start dyeing my beard more. I was driving around on the fucking brother's, cousin's, uncle's license, and the thing that really boils my fucking piss is that 10, 15 years ago, if you got a taxi, you just said where you want to go and they drove there. Now, it's all, what's the postcode, mate? I don't know the area. If you don't know the area, don't be a fucking taxi driver. Although in saying that, they aren't legally taxi drivers anyway. Allegedly. Of course, the thing about Starmer is that when... Fuck that. I am Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party. Exterminate! Of course, it was Tony Blair who first tried to Of course, it was Tony Blair who first introduced the idea of bollocks.